From the studios of Farm Journal Broadcast, this is U.S. Farm Report.
Welcome to this special edition of U.S. Farm Report from tomorrow's Top Producer Seminar in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm Tyne Morgan, and here's what we're working on for you over the next hour. The longest bull run in soybeans in 43 years, but is it over? The surge in crop prices is lifting moods.
I'm excited about 2016.
We're on the road with Machinery Pete to Indiana to see how it's impacting equipment buys. And in John's world,
Forecasting the future. Can we even do it?
U.S. Farm Report, brought to you by the dependable, long-lasting Chevy Silverado.
now for the headlines. The cat and mouse game between Bayer and Monsanto continues as a takeover offer is far from a done deal. Despite rumors, the Wall Street Journal reports Bayer has not upped the ante on its $122 per share cash offer. And the latest twist is Monsanto now says it's unwilling to open its financial books to Bayer unless the company comes back with a more lucrative deal. And Bayer says it won't increase its offer without first looking at the finances of Monsanto. It was May 24th when Bayer Ag offered $62 billion to buy Monsanto. At that time, Monsanto's board declined, but the St. Louis-based company is keeping the door open for further discussions. The latest crop progress report shows 65% of the corn crop is in good to excellent condition. That's compared to 73% this time last year. The agency calling 74% of the soybean crop good to excellent. That beats last year by 7 points. And about a third of Texas and Oklahoma's wheat crop is harvested. USDA says overall winter wheat harvest is at 11%, 7 points behind average. The fact it's a presidential election year isn't stopping major ag groups from pushing for trade deals like the Trans-Pacific Partnership. Groups such as the National Pork Producers Council testified in front of the House Ways and Means Committee this week. NPPC President John Weber told lawmakers not only do they need to get TPP passed, but it needs to eliminate tariffs on U.S. agricultural products.
Because other Asia-Pacific trade agreements are being negotiated without the United States, we cannot afford, either economically or geopolitically, to walk away from the fastest-growing region in the world.
Weber says the year the U.S. entered a free trade agreement with Canada, pork exports were valued at $400,000, and last year those exports totaled $5.6 billion. All right, that's it for the headlines. Now let's pitch it back to Mike Hoffman, who's at the studio this week. Mike, it warmed up quickly across the U.S. and summer, it's not even officially here yet.
Boy, that's right, Tyne. And of course, when it heats up, it can also start to dry up in parts of the area. And we've seen a brand new area of drier conditions on the drought monitor show up across much of the central and eastern corn belt. Now, some of that area did get rain during a day or two where this wasn't counted. So hopefully that will improve things. But it continues to get worse in the southeast. So let's go back 4 weeks. It was already starting to get dry, Atlanta and areas northward. It obviously remains extremely dry, extreme to exceptional drought in central and southern California. And while that has improved slightly over the past couple of months, hadn't really improved much over the past month. But you can see the dry area is starting to show up parts of the Corn Belt. That's always a concern as we're heading toward La Nina. We're not in it yet, though, so hopefully that will keep things from getting too dry. So let's go day by day. On Monday, cold front moving into the northern plains. Showers and thunderstorms scattered there. Florida and Texas just because of afternoon moisture. Otherwise, it's hot from the central and southern plains to the west and warm in the northeast, but things do change. Cold front blasting all the way down into the Gulf Coast area by Wednesday. Showers and thunderstorms along it. It will turn cooler from the Great Lakes, mild all the way down into northern Dixie, and then showers and thunderstorms scattered throughout the afternoon in the southwest. But the heat definitely remains out west. Then as we head through Friday, things start to get a little bit more active. Showers and thunderstorms southeast and along with that system diving into the northern plains and the western portions of Canada. We'll be back in our next half hour with a longer range forecast.
All right, thanks so much, Mike. Well, we're having our marketing discussion from right here at tomorrow's Top Producer Seminar. It's a young panel, but it's a powerful discussion you won't want to miss. We have Brian Splitt, Ted Seifrid, and Matt Bennett. They join me next.
AgriClear, your secure transactional platform to buy and sell cattle, offers a broader market, efficiency, and certainty. Register for free today at agriclear.com.
How's it going?
Hi.
Today we're going to be comparing the roll-formed high-strength steel bed of the Chevy Silverado to the aluminum bed of this competitor's truck.
Awesome. All right, let him drop.
Let's see how the aluminum bed of this truck held up.
That's a good size puncture.
That's all the way through for sure.
Full on crack here.
You're aluminum now, you're gonna go, ooh.
Let's check out the Silverado steel bed.
Wow.
Yeah, a couple dents.
I'd expect more dents.
Chevy clearly held up better than the Ford.
Opportunities are out there. When it comes to getting maximum productivity from your acres, who can you turn to?
I got a guy who works with me to customize a plan for each acre, not a one-size-fits-all solution.
I got a guy who knows which corn products will help me get more out of this field.
I got a guy who digs deeper and treats my business like it's his.
Who do I turn to? My channel seedsman.
Find your channel seedsman at channel.com.
If you're not using IMI Global's verification programs, you might as well set your money on fire. To give your wieners added value, no program begins without a traceable animal. Then add on BQA and other specialties, and you open up a whole new market for your calves. You might be thinking, the market's so good, why bother? You ever heard of making hay when the sun shines? You got a choice. Get in the game or visit IMIGlobal.com.
Join Farm Journal field agronomists Ken Ferry and Missy Bauer this summer at a Farm Journal College event near you. New this year, Farm Journal College features 2 brand new events in Hayworth, Illinois: the Ag Professional Consultant and Retailer College and Farm Journal Technology and Data College. Farm Journal College will also be heading to Albert Lea, Minnesota for an action-packed 3 days of corn and soybean content. Visit farmjournalcollege.com to view each location's tentative agendas and learn more.
U.S. Farm Report on the road at the 2016 Tomorrow's Top Producer Seminar is brought to you by Channel, Seedsmanship at Work. Learn more at channel.com.
Welcome back to U.S. Farm Report here from the Tomorrow's Top Producer Seminar in Nashville, Tennessee. A great panel lined up and a lot to talk about, including the soybean market. Ted, I'm going to start with you. Longest bull run in soybeans, I think, in 43 years. This week wasn't too pretty, so Is it over?
I don't know if we're quite over yet, but we're certainly running into a bit of volatility. And you saw a big shift in weather. As of Tuesday afternoons, NOAA extended forecasts, the 6 to 10 and the 8 to 14 days. They were significantly different than what we were looking at on Monday. There were still some hotter temperatures in there, but we were back to normal, maybe slightly above normal precip. That has weighed on the market heavily. And then this morning, or Thursday morning, we saw NOAA's 1 and 3 month outlooks that have normal precip and a little bit of hot temperatures in there as well. So taking a little bit of that weather premium back for now, looking at those forecasts, and with the stronger dollar, that kind of is what happened here this week. But you know, we are very much heightened to the weather this year. The volatility will stick around, and I think we could have our shots back up towards highs, maybe even make new highs if we have a change in that weather again.
You do. Well, this surprise rally, I mean, not a lot of people saw it coming. Can you compare this year to any years in the past?
Yeah, I've done some research, and I was trying to find a year where we had similar money flow patterns, and this really followed 2009. Both this year and in 2009, soybeans bottomed on March 2nd, and the March contract in 09 bottomed at $8.43 a bushel. This year was $8.49, so that's almost the same price. Rallied into the March quarterly stock and planting intention report, consolidated in mid-April, made an aggressive surge higher in May into the May WASDE report. And so looking back at that year, in 2009, soybeans topped the session after the June WASDE report. So we made a high Sunday night into Monday's trade, which was the session after the June WASDE, and we've seen some selling come in since then. So just a tidbit of information, 10.99.5 was the June high in 09 on November beans, down to 8.81 by July 8th.
Oh my gosh.
So there could be a money flow out of the market, and it may not be because of weather, it could be because of bigger picture things going on.
And I mean, we've heard analysts say if we do start to fall, we're going to fall hard and we're going to fall fast, and it sure seems that way this week. When we talk to a lot of these farmers out here, they have aggressively sold a lot of their crop, and that's kind of surprising, I think, to us. But at this point, how much of their new crop soybeans do you think should be sold?
Well, in my opinion, if you're buying crop insurance, then you definitely need to make use of that. And you've got insured bushels. You need to sell an incremental basis. And personally, I mean, I'm up to 40%, and that's what most of my guys have done. We feel like we've got a pretty good average price. I want everyone to look at their profitability on their farm, and if they're making money, step in and make sales. Now, you know, over 40%, in my opinion, probably gets a little bit rich, and so I'm going to go ahead and place floors underneath the market. A week like this definitely helps you sleep better at night. Don't lose sight of the fact that we got $3 above the spring insurance price. Whenever you're that far above the spring insurance price, there's absolutely no reason to at least be setting floors in place.
Do you think that's too aggressive?
What, the 40%? Well, so you're going back to December and January and February, we were buying calls for the idea that if we got a rally that we could sell cash. So for the guys that did that we're working with, 40% is not too aggressive at all because we still have our upside potential on the board with those calls. Now, we've started to convert some of those calls into puts, but you know, you look at the prices that we have right now, you look at the crop conditions that we had at least as of Monday, the yield potential is still there if we return to more normal weather. As Brian was talking about, you know, it could be a macroeconomic change as well. So yeah, I think you absolutely need to protect these prices, and I don't think 40% is too much at all.
Brian, another factor coming into this market, acreage report, June 30th, could be huge. What do you think we'll see from USDA?
I do think that we'll see an increase in soybean acres, and I think it's going to be in the vicinity of about 84 million acres. So that'd be up from 82.2. And we've seen years where we see a substantial increase in corn acres year over year, where the acreage for corn still goes higher from the March to June number. And it may be small, maybe 200,000, but that would be the trend.
Okay, how big of a number do we need to see out of USDA for soybeans in order to see prices really hurt?
Well, I think if you get 84 or above, it's definitely something that the market's going to pay very close attention to. I personally felt like they were a little rich on corn acres in the March because that was taken as of March 1st. And you know what? Soybeans did nothing but rally in the month of March before people started planting. All
right, but what does corn look like? What's the outlook for corn? We're going to talk about that when we come back on U.S. Farm Report.
Every successful grower knows that the best crops need strong roots, and that means they need Radiate Plant Growth Regulator. Radiate features two powerful active ingredients that help young crops quickly develop the longer, healthier roots they need for more nutrient uptake, early vigor, and stress resistance. Applied either foliar or in furrow, Radiate makes all the difference for a wide variety of crops. So get the roots your crops need by getting Radiate first. See your CPS dealer today.
Tommy, I'm a little disappointed. The yields weren't there and the prices are low. We need to sell at a good price. What do you advise?
Hi, it's Tommy Grisafi, and I would like to visit you at your farm to discuss strategies and risk management solutions that best fit your farm's interest. Call me at 855-737-FARM, and I will personally visit you at your farm. Experience solid market advice right on the farm.
One look tells you right away, this is performance that pays. Now take a closer look and ask yourself, is it new or is it John Deere used? With impressive fuel economy, comfort, convenience, and overall performance, it's really a close call. Our late model used equipment is time-tested, field-proven, and backed by the most trusted name in farm equipment. For even more peace of mind, our certified pre-owned machines deliver. New or new to you, nothing runs like a Deere. Visit Machine Finder or see your dealer today.
You've committed to doing all you can to increase your yields and grow your bottom line. Like using Stratego Yield fungicide and its two modes of action for unbeatable control of the major foliar soybean diseases. You'll get an average yield increase of 3 to 4 bushels per acre. Healthier fields means higher yields. You're ready to profit from the season with Stratego Yield.
U.S. Farm Report on the road at the 2016 Tomorrow's Top Producer Seminar is brought to you by Channel, Seedsmanship at Work. Learn more at channel.com.
Welcome back. Again, we're here from tomorrow's Top Producer Seminar. Okay, Ted, we just talked about the acreage report and what it means for soybeans. Let's say we do see a massive reduction in corn acres. What's that going to do to prices?
Well, if we take corn acres away, that certainly puts more emphasis on the yield because the USDA has been very aggressive on demand. So if you start pulling that corn acreage number down, you take away that buffer that we've had on yield and weather, and with the weather that we've had, that can turn that corn market a little bit more positive going forward. However, I'm not sure we're going to see a big reduction in corn acres.
You don't think so?
Corn acres are tough to peg because we lost some acres down in the Delta from the wet weather that we had. But, you know, everywhere else we were really planting corn aggressively. We could have continued to roll on corn. We might have actually increased corn acres possibly. So we're at about 94 million acres of corn and 84 million acres of beans. So if you get that, I don't think that's really overwhelmingly bullish for the corn market. But it really comes down to yield, and it comes down to what weather we're going to see going forward, especially in July.
But overall, when we look at not a lot of prevent plant acres out there, looking at the wheat price and you know, less wheat acres, do you think overall we're going to see acres go up?
I do. I think one of the trends is that the soybean acres will be higher, but not at the expense of corn.
Okay. At the same time, when we look at South America, in Argentina, maybe the losses aren't as extreme as what we originally heard. How is that playing into our markets right now?
Well, I think this week it definitely played a role. You know, whenever they're talking about Argentina's losses weren't as much as what they thought they were. The one thing that I would be a little bit cautious about is the people that we've talked to have said, you know, the quality is a big concern. And so that could still play into the export market fairly heavily. And so I do feel like our demand being ratcheted up is probably the right thing to have done. Even though exports weren't phenomenal on corn on Thursday, they're still pretty good for this time of year.
Ted, I know you talked about the short-term weather outlook and favorable weather conditions, but when we look long-term, is there still a possibility that we could get a weather scare this summer?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you look at the warm temperatures that we've had in the first half of June, and you think, what does that translate into July and August? Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to be well above and 100-degree temperatures, but it certainly shows the possibility of what we have in front of us. And there's been a lot of talk going back into the winter about the transition from La Nina to El Nino, or El Nino to La Nina, and what impact that might have on the crop. So we are our senses are very heightened to weather this year. We very much could have a lot of volatility. And certainly, I mean, if we see a dry forecast, we're going to get these markets amped up and going again. So yeah, I certainly think that is possible.
Brian, I know you can't bank on a weather event, but it's kind of hard to get, not get excited about the possibility. So what should the marketing game plan be right now?
Well, I think, Ed Matt had mentioned, if you have crop insurance, there should be an amount of your physical crop that you're okay committing to sales. And then as the market continues to go higher and you sell more of that physical crop, you're going to reach your threshold. And hopefully at that point, we're at higher levels, and you still need to maintain some kind of a floor under those bushels that you're not comfortable marketing. And that's probably where your puts come in play. If the market is going up, then that might be a chance to put a floor in at roughly the same level where you began your marketing program.
Matt, I know you've been looking at June and historical temperatures and what that could possibly mean moving forward. What are some interesting facts that you have?
Well, it goes back to the winter. In the I-states, we were out of the last 120 years, one of the 12 mildest and wettest winters that we've seen. And so out of those 12 years, whenever the month of June is historically significantly warmer, then July and August follows up with warmer and drier. And so that's something that we need to keep an eye on. You know, it's an anomaly, and whenever you have that much alignment, after you see weather earlier in the winter, you have to pay pretty close attention to it.
You know, I feel like there's a lot of producers out there that maybe sold soybeans at $9, not too happy considering the upside we've seen since then, but they were told you need to be aggressive, you need to sell. So what about those producers now who are thinking, well, you know, maybe I shouldn't take some of this advice and hold on a little bit longer?
Well, if you're one of the producers that has sold aggressively and you're not happy with where your sales are, one thing to remember is you probably started making those sales because they were at levels that were profitable, and that's why the advisor was preaching that hey, we've come from a market where we were in the red and now we're in the black, so let's at least get a head start. And as the market continued to go higher, we continue to make some more sales. So I'd like to see a little bit of a break short term and then maybe use that as an opportunity to buy some calls and cover the upside on these sales as we get into the August timeframe when we fill the beans out and make the crop.
Ted, switching gears real quick, only have about a minute left, but cattle, I'm hearing that short term we're going to see prices go lower. What are your thoughts?
You know, there's a lot of talk about prices going lower in cattle, and you know, when we looked at it a couple times throughout the week this week, we were under pressure, but we've been able to come back. I think the one thing that the market is sort of discounting right now, aside from the big discount that we have to cash, is that, you look at weather, and we talk a lot about weather for grains, obviously, but weather is a big factor in cattle as well. And if we're going to have these above normal temperatures like we're seeing now, and if that does follow through into July and August, it's going to be really tough to keep weights on. Despite the higher placement numbers, if weights are coming down, we have a tighter supply chain, especially up front. I'm a little bit friendly cattle prices going forward.
All right, we're going to get their closing thoughts when we come back, so don't go anywhere.
Once you cut a tree down, what do you do about the stump? Grind it down with a DR Stump Grinder, the fast, easy, and affordable solution for stump removal. Thanks to the power of a world-class engine and carbide-tipped cutting teeth, the DR Stump Grinder tackles any size stump. With each pass, these teeth quickly shave the stump down, taking a remarkable 360 bites per second. In no time, the stump is completely gone. All that's left behind is a pile of wood chips. Get behind the power of a DR Stump Grinder to rid your property of tree stumps forever.
Call 1-800-515-4765 for your free buyer's guide and DVD. Learn how you can try a DR Stump Grinder for 6 months. With our special financing plan, you can own a DR for as low as $42 a month. Plus, get free shipping if you call now. 1-800-515-4765. Online at drstumpgrinder.com.
Are you living with slow internet at home? Or maybe no internet at all? Then you need HughesNet Gen 4, high-speed satellite internet. Whether you live out of town or way out of town, HughesNet is available wherever you call home. So you can live where you love and enjoy a great internet connection too. HughesNet features smart technologies to make your online experience better than ever. So go ahead, shop for deals. Learn new things. Share little moments. And stay in touch. Connect to what matters most with HughesNet.
Right now is the perfect time to finally get high-speed internet where you live. HughesNet, America's #1 choice for satellite internet. Call now. For a limited time, standard installation is free. For special offers only in your area, text FAST to 99000.
Welcome back. Time now for our closing thoughts. Ted Seifert, let's start with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've had a very nice rally off of lows. We were having this conversation back in March. We were talking about owning calls and really hoping for a rally. We've gotten that rally, so now is the time to be looking at making those cash sales, especially if you have some upside potential still left on the board with those calls. If not, I think you make the cash sales and you still look to have some upside potential because we could have some weather this year.
Yeah. Brian Split?
We're about to hit showtime in July, and it's all about weather. And I think you have to really put a plan together. If you're hoping that the weather brings prices higher, you need to have an idea of what plan B is if we start going down, have a level below the market that you might need to take some action if this market does not continue to go higher, and stress test your plan with your banker and be very in communication with them.
Matt Bennett?
Well, I think we've gotten a really good gift here in the last couple, 3 months, something that we really didn't think that we were going to get. We've got to look at what it means to our farm, know what it means to our farm, and then aggressively defend it because profitability is the name of the game.
All right, thank you all for joining us this week. Stay with us. John Phipps joins us and talks about the surprise rally and why no one saw it coming. That's next.
Today, buying and selling cattle demands more because livestock production is more challenging than ever. This reality requires a new way to buy and sell cattle, one that empowers you to differentiate your cattle for the care and attention you give, one that broadens opportunities, one that reduces transaction costs and provides peace of mind. This is cattle marketing on your terms. This is AgriClear.
The Yamaha Viking and Viking 6. The hardest working, most off-road capable side-by-sides in America. Built for the hardest working people on earth. You.
We know who made that hitch. We know who cut the steel, who milled the ball, and who welded the seams. We know who tested, measured, and checked. We even know who thought the whole thing up. We're B&W, and we know your hitch. Because we don't make them halfway around the world. We make them all right here. B&W. Trusted.
Recent medical studies have shown that the use of talcum powder can cause ovarian cancer. If you or a loved one were diagnosed with ovarian cancer after using talcum powder, call right now. You may be owed significant compensation from the manufacturer. Call right now to determine if you may qualify. If we don't win, there is no fee. There are time deadlines to file a claim, so don't wait.
Call 1-800-842-1969. Again, that's 1-800-842-1969.
Welcome back. Well, in our marketing discussions, we kept talking about that surprise rally that caught nearly everyone off guard. But why was it such a surprise? John Phipps discusses in John's World.
The first half of 2016 has left more than a few observers puzzled over why we didn't see surprising events like the Trump nomination or Brexit coming. While we can point after the fact to information that might have foreshadowed developments like the record low bond yields, for the most part, this year has been one surprise after another. Researcher Philip Tetlock, whose book on super forecasting I highly recommend, has been working on this prediction problem for decades with meticulous statistical analysis. His early results were depressing. Essentially, it came down to the fact that the more widely known a forecaster was, the less accurate his or her predictions were. In short, expert political foresight is a myth. Since these early findings, he has begun the Good Judgment Project to see if good forecasting of economic and geopolitical events is even possible and how it could be improved. Using hundreds of volunteers and thousands of questions, he has discovered that some individuals are super forecasters with remarkable records of correct predictions. How they did it is explained in the book. While intellect and education were helpful, the most powerful tools these super forecasters display were enormous and wide-ranging information consumption, low levels of cultural bias, and staggering amounts of effort and time invested. Good forecasting does not mean predicting the corn price on November the 12th, for example. It means an evolving probability of higher or lower trends along with specific predictions of specific outcomes. Basically, good, useful forecasts don't necessarily look like what we think they should. His work is being replicated by other economists and psychologists, and the project is ongoing, but it has reshaped at least my expectations for all kinds of forecasts and forecasters. No one knows the future, of course, but there are concrete ways we can improve our ability to anticipate events. Like virtually all other good things in life, it simply requires more training and effort than most of us are willing to do.
Thanks so much, John. After the break, we'll introduce you to a young dairyman using innovation while being mindful of the environment to come out on top.
U.S. Farm Report is produced and distributed by Farm Journal Broadcast. From the studios of Farm Journal Broadcast, this is U.S. Farm Report.
Welcome back to the special edition of U.S. Farm Report from tomorrow's Top Producer Seminar in Nashville, Tennessee. We have much more ahead over the next 30 minutes. Our Farm Journal Report takes us to New York, introducing us to a dairyman who's breaking the mold so much he's worthy of a Top Producer Award. The commodity market has been a mood changer the last few weeks, but it's bringing some new buying into the market for equipment. And in customer support, who would be the best president for U.S. agriculture? John Phipps tackles the topic later on the show. Now for the headlines. What does glyphosate and a very hot cup of coffee have in common? Well, they both may have the same risk of causing cancer. The International Agency for Research on Cancer said this week that very hot beverages are classified as probably carcinogenic to humans. That's the agency in the same classification that glyphosate received earlier this year. IARC says drinks at above 149 degrees could cause scald burns in the esophagus, and that's linked to cancer. Hot tea and coffee are often served hotter than 149 degrees. The U.S. meat and poultry sectors account for 5.6% of the United States gross domestic product. That's according to new analysis by John Dunham and Associates. It found the meat and poultry industries combined creates just over $1 trillion in total economic output. The group took into account the 5.4 million jobs it creates and $257 billion in wages. A growing number of rural bankers are increasing their collateral requirements before approving farm loans. That's one of the key points to the Rural Main Street Index from Creighton University. The monthly survey with bankers in farm country shows 3/4 have altered their farm lending practices due to a reduction in farm income and struggling commodity prices. The RMI shows half of the bankers boosted interest rates and a third rejected a higher percentage of farm loan requests. We could see a bite out of the cherry crop this year, but we aren't talking a major shortage. According to our reporting partners at the Packer, production is expected to drop 4% in the Pacific Northwest, now at 18.4 million boxes. That's down from the 19.8 million previously forecast. Weather compressed the bloom period, which in turn shortens the time to harvest. But the quality of this year's crop does look promising in Oregon, thanks to Mother Nature.
Weather's perfect right now. We haven't had too much heat. We haven't had any rain. So it's going to be a great crop. And that's important because the cherries will present themselves beautifully at retail.
Most of the earlier season varieties are sold domestically, and the later varieties are geared more for export. The top buyer is Asia. All right, that's it for the news. Now let's pitch it back to Mike Hoffman in the studio. Mike, we heard from our friends in the Pacific Northwest who say it's been dry in Oregon. That makes for the perfect cherry harvest weather.
Thanks, Tyne. Well, obviously that's great, although the dry areas developing in parts of the Midwest, not so great. You can see big dome of high pressure in the upper atmosphere and the jet stream levels, keeping it hot as we start the week from areas from the southwest all the way into the Ohio Valley, southern Great Lakes. But that changes. Trough digs into the Great Lakes, Ohio Valley northeast by Wednesday. Look at that. It turns chillier across this area. The heat kind of gets shoved back to the west. Plain states are still going to be warm in this pattern, but you won't be as hot as you've been. And you can see that trough goes all the way down into the southeast as we head through the end of this week. And it continues, although it'll start to lose its power as we head toward next weekend. Here's the 30-day outlook for temperatures above normal. Mid-Atlantic, Northeast, Ohio Valley, Great Lakes, Northern and Central Mississippi Valley, and the Northwest. Only below normal area, parts of the far southwestern plains, western Texas, and much of New Mexico. Of course, below normal can still be hot there. 30-day outlook for precipitation above normal in the northern plains into the Great Lakes, Mid-Atlantic, and below normal for the southeast and the southeastern plains. Tyne?
Thanks so much, Mike. Well, our partners at Top Producer Magazine are awarding a producer under the age of 35 who demonstrates excellence in agriculture with tomorrow's Top Producer Horizon Award. This year's winner is Chris Noble of Noblehurst Farms in Pavilion, New York. In this Farm Journal report, Betsy Gibbon shows us why the key to his business is diversification, innovation, and opportunity for the next generation.
Chris Noble of Noblehurst Farms will tell you he's done every job on his family's operation in western New York. But when it came time to expand the 1,800-head Holstein dairy and crop operation in a state tight on land and resources, Noblehurst Farms chose to innovate.
We don't have a lot of land in this area, versus Illinois or Iowa where there's acres and acres of land everywhere. We have people pretty close by us, so we have to be very mindful of how we do things here.
The Noble family first arrived in western New York in the 1800s. The family tree has now trickled down to seventh-generation farmer Chris Noble, his wife Jennifer, and their little girls.
The idea of milking more cows and spreading more manure on the land really didn't excite me going forward. So again, side businesses and developing innovative ways to add to the core business was something I really was passionate about.
That's even for the next generation.
His parents and grandparents were always very visionary, and that was their plan, that they would have something that their kids would have to come home to.
So that's what the Nobles are doing, combining opportunity with innovation.
One thing we've really wanted to focus on the last couple of years is getting closer to the consumer.
In addition to the dairy and 2,800 acres of crops, they are putting an edge on projects. building a $3.5 million digester, reducing methane emissions, odor, and costs. 450 kilowatts per hour, enough to power 350 homes.
We buy power at the farm, we buy power at the creamery, and then we sell a little bit back to the grid in certain times of the year.
The digester doesn't just function on manure alone. It also accepts food scraps that would normally go to a landfill. That's what led Noble into forming a company called Natural Upcycling. The digester processes about 10 to 15 tons of food scraps a day. They also recycle any packaged products.
It could be produce, it could be baked goods, it could be anything really.
They're continuing a goal of reaching out to consumers on projects. The latest is a creamery called Craig Station, located on his operation. It supplies milk not just from his dairy, but surrounding neighbors, emphasizing traceability back to the farm.
So did I ever see this coming? Yeah, we'd always looked at it getting closer to the consumer.
And they're not just doing good in their neighborhoods with their practices, but also community service. The Nobles are employing refugees as milkers through a New York refugee milker training program. They also hire disabled employees to help with the food recycling business.
So this community we need to support and build up and find opportunity for that whole community as well as for the farm itself.
That's why Chris Noble is the 2016 Tomorrow's Top Producer Horizon Award winner.
It's really a humbling honor. I think it's being able to tell a story about agriculture and the good things about what are going on in this area and in other areas is always a privilege.
Thanks so much, Betsy. Noble says a new $58 million cheese plant is also in the works under an agreement with the European Dairy Cooperative, Dairy Farmers of America, and a handful of area farmers that will produce 15 million pounds of cheese annually right next to his farm. Well, up next, John Phipps.
Get the roots your crops need by getting Radiate first. Visit lovelandproducts.com/radiate. See your CPS dealer today.
The new DR trimmer mowers are here, and they're better than ever. The walk-behind DRs feature world-class engines and easy rolling wheels that let you trim along buildings, decks, and fence lines, mow tall grass and waist-high weeds without tangling, even cut brush up to 3 inches thick with optional cutting attachments. And now there's a full line of tow-behind DR trimmer mowers. Choose from models customized for riding mowers, ATVs, or compact tractors. So turn to DR and get the job done right.
Call 1-800-418-1409 for your free buyer's guide and DVD. We'll include details of our special 36-month financing plan that lets you own a DR for as low as $25 a month. Free shipping is now in effect, so call 1-800-418-1409. Online at drtrimmer.com.
DR is professional power done right.
Are you living with slow internet at home? Or maybe no internet at all? Then you need HughesNet Gen 4, high-speed satellite internet. Whether you live out of town or way out of town, HughesNet is available wherever you call home. So you can live where you love and enjoy a great internet connection too. HughesNet features smart technologies to make your online experience better than ever. So go ahead, shop for deals. Learn new things. Share little moments. And stay in touch. Connect to what matters most with HughesNet.
Right now is the perfect time to finally get high-speed internet where you live. HughesNet, America's #1 choice for satellite internet. Call now. For a limited time, standard installation is free. For special offers only in your area, text FAST to 99000.
Welcome back. Well, you knew it was only a matter of time before John tackled the upcoming presidential election and explored who would be the best candidate for agriculture. He does that this week in Customer Support.
Okay, regular viewer and correspondent Barrett Young asks the big question. What do you think of the presidential candidates? Could you talk about the agricultural viewpoints each candidate may have and the effects? Okay, I'm going to talk about the presumed nominees. I think it's important to avoid microscoping this election and limiting our focus on agriculture. Farm policy might get a few sound bites during campaign stops in Iowa or possibly Wisconsin, but even that seems unlikely to me. The farm vote simply doesn't matter as much, and farmers themselves seem likely to vote based on other reasons. Jim Wiesmeyer at Pro Farmer tried to compare ag policy positions of the two presumed nominees, and my summary of his summary is as follows. A Clinton presidency would probably look much like the current administration for farmers. A Trump presidency is essentially unpredictable. It is pointless to analyze the words of a candidate who said this week, and I quote, "Policy is a waste of paper," end quote, and whose positions can be contradictory day to day. However, I can think of two exceptions. The lesser is immigration. Ag's labor problems from vegetable fields to packing plants will not improve under a Trump administration. The far bigger peril, I think, for agriculture is trade interruption. Mr. Trump's campaign rhetoric leaves little doubt about the strong possibility of trade friction with China and Mexico, our number 1 and 3 ag export markets. I rank this risk higher because the executive branch can do much without or despite Congress on trade issues. As an example is President Obama in Cuba. While ag has much at stake, farmers seem willing to ignore these hazards in favor of other perceived threats like the makeup of the Supreme Court, regulatory burdens, and various other constitutional fears. As far as the actual candidates, I consider Mr. Trump vulgar, uninformed, and singularly unqualified for the presidency. Secretary Clinton I find competent, predictable, and utterly uncharismatic. Neither seem to rank ag policy as much of a priority.
Thanks, John. And just a reminder here at Farm Journal Media, we don't take sides in political campaigns. We just present the facts, and in this case, commentary that may or may not inform your decision. Well, up next, we're on the road with Machinery Pete.
Is the early application of fungicide profitable on corn? Does it really make me money?
One of the things is you're going across the field anyway with a herbicide, probably a post-emergence herbicide. It's easy and cost-effective to throw a fungicide in the tank with that application. Now, early season, we're trying to do two things. We're trying to protect the leaves in the middle of the canopy and gives good stalk quality. There's a lot of good benefits out of that. When you're going through that field, you're harvesting, you're burning fuel by the hour with your combine. If I have to slow down because my stalks aren't standing well, then I'm increasing my cost per acre. If I'm going to 4 miles an hour, I have to slow down suddenly to 2 miles an hour because my stalks aren't standing straight. I just double the cost of fuel invested in harvesting. Nothing to do with yield, but that's direct money out of my pocket. So the value of an early season fungicide is not just the yield increase, but also the increased efficiency you see through the season. There's a lot of value from that early season application.
The new DR trimmer mowers are here, and they're better than ever. The walk-behind DRs feature world-class engines and easy rolling wheels that let you trim along buildings, decks, and fence lines, mow tall grass and waist-high weeds without tangling, even cut brush up to 3 inches thick with optional cutting attachments. And now there's a full line of tow-behind DR trimmer mowers. Choose from models customized for riding mowers, ATVs, or compact tractors. So turn to DR and get the job done right.
Call 1-800-418-1409 for your free buyer's guide and DVD. We'll include details of our special 36-month financing plan that lets you own a DR for as low as $25 a month. Free shipping is now in effect, so call 1-800-418-1409. Online at drtrimmer.com.
DR is professional power done right.
On the Road with Machinery Pete is brought to you by John Deere. Nothing runs like a deer.
Welcome back. This month we're continuing our On the Road with Machinery Pete series with a stop in Indiana at Reynolds Farm Equipment. The shift in commodity prices is lifting moods and changing outlooks for 2016.
Our parents were the generation that got jobs off the farm.
On the cusp of suburbia in the middle of fertile farmland, You can find Christy Kirtley cutting hay and raising cattle.
For us to put fence posts through black dirt, I think they thought we were going crazy, to be honest with you.
That didn't stop them from striving to capture their dream, growing their first-generation family cattle business one day at a time.
As the herd grew, I felt very vulnerable to the hay market.
So they found a solution to the problem in the form of equipment.
We bought special hay equipment that enabled us to do haylage or wet hay and then wrap it. And that shortened the window of opportunity needed to do a harvest.
Did you scout corn this morning?
Jared Kakasula farms row crops just down the road.
Over the last several years, we've upgraded the equipment to get our track spacing as wide as possible and to become as efficient as possible.
The attention to detail meant the family wanted more efficient equipment, including auto track and swath controls.
One, it saves in seed cost.
Constantly striving for more efficiency, they even purchased a newer combine last year.
We had switched to draper heads for soybeans. We raised seed beans, and quality and timeliness of cutting those is very important. That let us gain a half to 1 mile per hour on our cutting speed.
The surprising momentum in combine sales isn't going unnoticed.
And we're seeing some action, some good action with sprayers, combines, and some tractors also.
Used combine values tying have been holding, which again, that still surprises me, given that the end of 2015 was a little bit soft in December.
From combines to planters.
The biggest prize has probably been our planter inventory. We worked through just about everything that we had used on the planter inventory.
With planters specifically, is it more used or new?
Well, it's been both.
Larger planters is a relatively soft market right now, so that will drive some people into a larger planter. But overall, I would say if a farmer had his choice, they're probably set pretty good on the width of rows, just maybe some more technology or higher speeds.
We totally think that we could see customers going back a size on a planter, going back to a 16 row from a 24 row.
As farmers ride the bull market in soybeans, it's changing attitudes, fueling the surprise in equipment purchases.
The increase in the beans, took it from a marginal year in terms of being able to make money to, yeah, we can make money planting some soybeans.
I've noticed it since 2012 time, where these the weather scares or any price jumps, to me, the impact into the used market has become more immediate. And we saw it again this spring.
Machinery Pete says the moving market could continue to alter trends.
Well, normally late summer, early fall time, used values tend to get a little softer. But what I've seen in April and May this year, basically solid to stronger pricing, makes me think we'll probably hold through the rest of the year.
It's not just equipment in high demand.
I've had customers call in requesting quotes on new technology upgrades for planters and hydrous bars, combines, and so that's a really positive thing in my opinion. That shows that we're starting to hit that flat spot and to taper up.
This pivot we put in last year.
Jaron Stafford is one farmer who's been upgrading for the technology.
It's a big investment up front, but over the years, I think, I don't know where we would be without it today.
He says better data and information translates into better decisions on the farm, and he's really excited about the future.
I like the idea of being able to view different machines in different fields. And also being able to remotely access those machines, the displays, if the operator's having a problem, something's not working, I could remotely access it, pull up what he's seeing, and go in and fix it.
What we're doing really is we're moving from precision agriculture, where we're doing things based on what we've planned on, based on what happened last year. And then we're looking at real-time data, but we're moving to prescriptive to say, what does the model tell me for market prices, for weather, and we'll make decisions about what's likely to happen.
To see where we've come in the last 13 years, it's exciting to think where we're headed in the next decade.
The future may not be written, but the plot to this year's chapter is quickly changing.
I'm excited about 2016. I really look like it's going to be a great finish to a kind of a soft start.
And next month, we make a stop in Georgia to see how equipment trends are doing there. Well, up next, Machinery Pete rejoins us for Tractor Tales.
Hi, Tom Parent here for DR Power Equipment. Is your driveway a bumpy road full of potholes, washboard, and ruts? Well, for lots of folks that live in the country, this is a normal ride. But it doesn't have to be this way. Not when you own a DR Power Grader, now available at a new low price. Tow the Power Grader behind your riding mower, utility tractor, or ATV. With each pass, the Power Grader loosens, redistributes, and levels surface materials. Potholes and ruts are filled in, washboard is smoothed out, and your resurfaced driveway is ready to roll.
Call 1-800-708-5320 for your free buyer's guide and DVD. You'll learn how you can own a DR Power Grader for as little as $799.99. Free shipping is now in effect, and with our 6-month at-home trial, your satisfaction is guaranteed. Call 1-800-708-5320. Online at drpowergrader.com.
Are you paying too much for your cable or satellite TV? The U.S. government passed a bill mandating free over-the-air digital transmission of all broadcast network television channels. That means with the new TV Freeway digital antenna, you can get free HD programming from your favorite broadcast networks 24/7 without a bill. You just plug it into the back of your TV and start watching all of your favorite broadcast programs for free. There are no contracts to sign, no hidden fees, and no monthly fees. Just free HD broadcast TV. Take it with you anywhere. Call or go online now to get your TV Freeway stick for the incredibly low price of only $14.99. But wait, call or click now and you can get a second TV Freeway stick for a second TV. Just pay a separate fee, but you have to order right now.
Call 1-800-316-1198 to get your TV Freeway. Call now or go to tvfreeway.com. So call 1-800-316-1198. Call now.
Time now for Tractor Tales with Machinery Pete, the most trusted name in farm equipment.
This week on Tractor Tales, we're off to a family farm in northern Indiana, where this Massey Ferguson garden tractor has been getting the job done for 4 generations of the Whistler family. And it's still getting the job done today.
We have a Massey Ferguson hydrostack, one of the first ones Massey Ferguson came out with. It's an 8-horse motor, comes with a mower deck. This Massey Ferguson, it's been willed down to me. I am 4th generation with this tractor. My great-grandfather bought it brand new from my grandfather. My grandfather was a Massey Ferguson dealer in New Carlisle. When my great-grandfather passed away, my grandfather got it. When my grandfather passed away, my mother and father got it, and they gave it to me. The trailer that's hooked up to it is the trailer that came from Massey Ferguson. It was given to the Massey Ferguson dealers to deliver their Massey Ferguson garden tractors. So I have 2 daughters, 2 sons. They love driving this tractor. It's really simple to drive. It's the hydro, lever push forward and back. They drive it all the time. They hook this trailer up all the time. We use it all the time around the farm. It has a 8-horse Tecumseh in it. That is the original motor. Yep, the original motor that came with the tractor. On the day that it came to my house, I had 2 guys offer me to buy it, and I won't sell it. And because it's, I'm 4th generation, this tractor will never be sold.
Thanks so much. This week's Country Church Salute is from Iowa. The St. John's Lutheran Church in Crane Creek is celebrating their 150th anniversary this weekend. Their celebration begins at 10 a.m. Sunday, including a fellowship meal, returning pastors, sharing their experiences, and much more. Congratulations on such an accomplishment, and our thanks to Jane Stein and Sandra Henricks for sending that in. Well, we have a lot of viewer photos to share with you this week. That happens next.
Find your next piece of farm equipment with Machinery Pete. Visit and shop on machinerypete.com today with more than 100,000 listings for sale.
Opportunities are out there. When it comes to getting maximum productivity from your acres, who can you turn to?
I got a guy who works with me to customize a plan for each acre, not a one-size-fits-all solution.
I got a guy who knows which corn products will help me get more out of this field.
I got a guy who digs deeper and treats my business like it's his.
Who do I turn to? My Channel Seedsman.
Find your Channel Seedsman at channel.com.
Welcome. Hi. Today we're going to be comparing the roll-formed high-strength steel bed of the Chevy Silverado to the aluminum bed of this competitor's truck. We're going to grab that empty toolbox for me. Let's start here with the aluminum bed.
That's a big hole. Huge. We got Swiss cheese for a truck here. I'm curious to see if that will do the same thing with the Chevy.
Well, let's find out. Same spot, same angle, same empty toolbox.
took it way better.
The steel held up.
Silverado proved it is the toughest truck here.
Hi, Tom Parent here for DR Power Equipment. Is your driveway a bumpy road full of potholes, washboard, and ruts? Well, for lots of folks that live in the country, this is a normal ride. But it doesn't have to be this way. Not when you own a DR Power Grader, now available at a new low price. Tow the Power Grader behind your riding mower, utility tractor, or ATV. With each pass, the Power Grader loosens, redistributes, and levels surface materials. Potholes and ruts are filled in, washboard is smoothed out, and your resurfaced driveway is ready to roll.
Call 1-800-708-5320 for your free buyer's guide and DVD. You'll learn how you can own a DR Power Grader for as little as $799.99. Free shipping is now in effect, and with our 6-month at-home trial, your satisfaction is guaranteed. Call 1-800-708-5320. Online at drpowergrader.com.
I put a call out on Facebook this week for pictures, and boy, did I get a response with over 60 pictures. I'm going to work through as many of these as possible. First off, Katie says they're checking green field peas in North Dakota. She says they were making a lot of nitrogen and flowering this week. Well, fields don't look as good in Fayette County, Texas. That's a corn field under all that water. Heidi says they're raking hay in southwest Michigan. They finished the first cutting and not as many bales as past years just due to that cool, wet spring they had. Grant says they're rolling mixed hay in Three Links, Kentucky this week. That crop looks good. And now we head to South Dakota, where Joe Bolton says they are actually baling alfalfa. Wheat harvest is underway in western Oklahoma. Levi Jones sent us this picture. It's also harvest time in Texas. Lindsay Kimbrell gives us an aerial view of the field. Yields averaged around 50 to 60 bushels per acre, and she says they're done. In Alabama, the wheat crop is almost ready for harvest. This picture is from Jill Moore. And to close out our pictures, Cody McGrady captured this picture of his John Deere 4020 at his grandpa's farm at sunset. He says area crops look pretty good so far. What a great picture. Thanks so much. Well, for all of us at U.S. Farm Report, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to join us again next week as we work to build on our tradition. And happy Father's Day to all you dear old dads this weekend.
High-strength steel for high-strength dependability. Chevy Silverado, the official news-gathering vehicle of U.S. Farm Report. U.S. Farm Report is produced and distributed by Farm Journal Broadcast.